how many of us really know what digital marketing meant 10 years ago? Probably very few. The niche, which evolved from 0 to 10 and keeps changing every day. Time to look back and see what was the whole point behind going digital and how important it is to have a comprehensive understanding of how digital works to make sure your digital money is bringing you the results you really expect. My today's guest is a true digital marketing guru, a person who saw this niche as a Google-only and one Facebook page and who evolved together with the industry. A professor, a lecturer in multiple institutions, a founder of his own digital marketing agency which focuses on strategy and execution of complex digital marketing campaigns. Welcome, Professor Christian Farioli. Christian, thank you so much for coming in and participating in my B2B Marketing Now podcast. I know you for some time. We connected over LinkedIn, meeting now face to face. I'm recording you on my podcast. I'm so happy you found time.
It's a pleasure, Larisa, to be here.
How do you normally say, I know you as a digital marketing guru. I know you as a professor and a lecturer, and you have so many dimensions. How do you normally introduce yourself to your clients, to your students, for example, because you have so many dimensions in your expertise?
All right. I don't like actually to be called a guru, even though even in India, after many conferences, they were really literally calling me guru, but it's a name that I don't like it. Even though that I've been speaking at NASA a couple of years ago in Houston, I'm still a humble person. So whatever you want to call me, I'm going to be okay with it.
But you would normally introduce probably your definitely digital marketing exposure and your journey and your story that you've been in digital marketing for so long, and you're also teaching digital marketing to a lot of students and to many institutions. Digital Marketing Institute, actually where I got my degree in digital marketing. Let's start with basics, okay? Because digital marketing is so broad nowadays.
True.
How do you define it? Is there any story behind that can help us all get aligned on that?
Typically, when I started, that was the year 2003, which is basically 18 years ago. That's quite a long time ago. And I used to say that digital marketing, actually the word digital marketing was not yet used, and I didn't know about it yet. So I was simply using tools to help companies generating clients. That's it. Or if you want to say even in a simpler version, getting clients using only the computer and internet. That's bottom line, what in my mind it was.
What was the key tool anyway at that time?
At the time there was only Google. That was the first one and only Google tool. Actually, there was another search engine before Google, which was called Alta Vista, that we were using at the university. But it disappeared quite early as soon as Google jumped in. And that's it.
So it was basically paid ads and the search engine optimization techniques. Okay.
Correct.
All right. And then probably social media popped up and
quite a few years later, because Facebook was like a revolution when came a few years later. And again, people, they used to use Facebook to play, to hang around, to chit chat with friends, to waste a lot of company hours just to chit chat. In fact, many companies, they start blocking Facebook immediately because it was the biggest time waster for all employees. And that's it. This is how it all started a long time ago.
When did people realize that they could use Facebook for business?
Actually, only in the last few years. Because I still remember exactly 10 years ago, I was speaking at a conference at Daktak in Mall of the Emirates. And I was talking exactly how Facebook can be used to generate clients for any organization. But at the time, I remember that all of the people that they were in the audience, many of them, they were senior executives for large organization. And they used to say, look, Christian, Facebook, it's for kids. It's not for us. It's not serious. We cannot put our serious group and brand and company in Facebook. And at the time I was thinking, it's going to take quite a few years until those guys are going to realize that some little company smarter than them is going to grow so fast in social media and in digital marketing that sooner or later everyone is going to need to adapt. And this is what maybe 4 or 5 years ago, finally everything changed, and then everyone now is forced to be online and digital everywhere.
Yeah, I like it. And do you still face this kind of objections when it comes to social media? I mean, I'm coming from a B2B sector, and I think I faced a lot of this, that social media is not really a great or the most suitable tool for the brands to generate any business. Yeah. So how often do you face it till now? Let's take our region, for example.
Actually, right now, everyone is keen to post more and more and more in social media. But again, when even companies, they ask me, so Christian, give me an advice. In our group, what we should post? And I always answer the same things. I'm not going to tell you because you are not ready and you're not going to like what you should post. So first you need to get ready. You need to change and shift your mentality from being a marketer to being a publisher. And then eventually we can have this conversation again.
I like this point. What does it mean being a publisher? Because it's not the first time we're raising it within this podcast, and I'm absolutely liking this trend. And I like that great professionals articulate this requirement of changing the mindset towards how you create your content and how you distribute it. Yeah. Surely.
So actually, this is a perfect example. A podcast is a content. So it's something that a publisher create content. In social media, 99% of the organizations, they just distribute content which is not good for the public. It's only good for them. It doesn't give any added value to the audience. That's the big mistake.
So you mean it's more of a product driven, let's say. We think as a brand that this content is great for our audience, or we're just posting it because we have created it and it's about our product, it's about our brand. I mean,
it's just a different version of advertising. It doesn't exactly look 100% like an advertising, but it is 99%.
Like
and that's what audience they don't like. So think in terms of content, what people would pay to get so much value out of the content that the company should distribute. That will give you the idea about what people like and what people don't.
Yeah, it's bringing me to another question that I was going to discuss with you. So one of the things that companies are conscious about is how to achieve that really high level of personalization or whatever they're posting, and is very, very much linked to how well do you know your audience, how well do you understand what their interests are. And I think it also links to your point around become a publisher. So
unfortunately, social media is too much driven from marketers. That's the big mistake. And the more experience is the marketer, the worse is the result that is going to get out of social media. Unfortunately, because social media is something for people, to have a conversation between people. And when you are a brand and you just communicate in one way direction about your stuff, your product, your services, how good, how beautiful you are, nobody's interested in something like that. It's like I come to this podcast and the only thing I talk is about myself and how good I am and how many services I can do and how amazing I am. People will leave immediately. But that's exactly what companies are doing in all of the social networks, from the first to the last one. And that's why they don't get any engagement at all.
I agree with you that social media is a lot more about communication and a conversation, right? That you're having with the audience. So
also think why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Because we should listen twice as much as what we speak. But in social media, it's only about blah, 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 me, blah, 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 blah. And that's why customers, they are not interested in that. On top, there are so many organizations now on any social network. Basically, the game become a challenge to get the attention of the customer. It's not anymore about showing how good we are, but it's just about getting the attention of the customer. To convince them to spend a little bit of seconds or minutes with us instead of with anyone else offering something amazing else.
Yeah, so it's all about how you make your customers and audience feel, and what have you done for them to at least refer to your content. I think that's very, very important for sure. And I know, your agency is pretty much numbers driven. So it's got to do a lot with knowledge of the audience. So what are the probably methodology that you're using when you're working with clients from the perspective of how do you approach a new project, for example? So I know so for you, numbers and different graphs mean a lot. So if you can elaborate on that.
We have typically two approaches. One is the standard, I call it the doctor approach. You go to the doctor, you show your pain, and they give you the medicine. And that's what we do sometimes with some clients. They tell us, look, we need this. Good, we give that. We need this specific campaign. And we do that. That's it. Nothing against that. But with a little bit larger clients, or clients that they want to really understand how does it work and they want to have an impact in the market, in this case, we have a strategic approach. So we analyze the current situation. So we spend quite time with them. Typically, it's from 1 week to a month.
Yeah.
Now, with huge organization, we even go 3 to 6 months of purely consulting approach, where we go from A to Z, understanding everything what they're doing and what they did so far, looking at the numbers, what they achieved until that moment, how they achieved that things. Even we analyze the brand, if there is anything right or wrong that should eventually be adjusted. We can even do customer survey to find out what their customer love and what could be the issues. And then we plan together with the company the to-be scenario. So where the company is going to be in the next 6 months to 1 year. And then we prepare the roadmap with all of the digital activity that need to be done to achieve that specific goal. And then we have the organization execute the roadmap. Now, sometimes when the organization, they don't have any internal capability, we do 100% ourselves. Then when the organization, they have some internal resource, we evaluate the resource, and then we work with them. In another case, when they already have some existing suppliers, we can even direct the existing suppliers. That's not a problem at all. That's a more consultative approach.
So how important is that evaluation, and also how important it is to evaluate all the channels that are currently, for example, an organization is currently using? Because I faced situations where organizations or companies might not look at all the channels as one single source of, the traffic that they're generating. And
right.
I mean, over expecting something from one channel and not considering the other one at all.
For example, I'll give you an example. I cannot give you the name of the client, but one of our clients was saying, look, we're doing a campaign for a while, we are happy, and now we want to do a Snapchat campaign. And then we say, look, for your type of business, for your type of clients, Snapchat is not the right client. But they were so keen because they say, yeah, because we got friends that they have in other companies, they got so great results, etc., etc. We want to do a Snapchat campaign. And I say, look, we strongly recommend not to. But if you want to launch a Snapchat campaign, you do it and we will see the results. After 1 month, we see the results. So they come back saying that, look, from this campaign, we got, from the Snapchat campaign, 50,000 visitors to our website. That's impressive. Then we start thinking, that sounds a little bit awkward. So we check our internal numbers, and then we notice that instead of 50,000 visitors, there were only 10,000. That's already like 1/5 of the results that you got. It was the real results. And then we start digging down more in the data and in the numbers, and we realize that out of 10,000 visits, only 1 visit generate a lead. So you may think that this is the best campaign ever, but when you look at the real results, not just how many Facebook likes you got, how many followers, how many TikTok view you got, the real results that you got out of it, then you see the reality. That includes even TikTok, that now is the platform that everyone want to be on TikTok. Again, brands and companies are not ready to be in TikTok, the vast majority, because they don't get any results. That's the reason that they are not ready. On top, even though they get results, when they start analyzing better where the traffic comes from, and you notice the majority of the traffic comes from Philippines or Brazil, if your company is based in the Middle East, you're not going to get much out of it. So again, my recommendation is really to be a lot more data-driven in marketing rather than just creative and color and flashy lights.
Oh, it's also about how we like to measure our performance with the so-called vanity metrics, which are pretty much about, likes and the amount of traffic, etc. But
that's how Facebook started, by showing off vanity metrics, and every CEO start loving the vanity metric, and they start looking only to get that, nothing else, only that, and that was clearly the wrong way.
Yeah, definitely. So, driven by the right data, I would say,
True.
and qualifying sort of your campaign and your campaign experience, and on each stage, I think is something that would definitely help the brands to be a little bit more efficient with their campaigns.
And aside of numbers on analytics or any platform that you may use, don't forget the old school customer service call, or even when somebody calls you, you instruct the receptionist that she always take a couple of details about the customer. She should ask, do you mind if I ask you how you find out about us? And then whatever the person is going to say, yeah, from Google, from the website, yeah, from Facebook, from my friend. Good. Word of mouth is also good. But it's good to put it down on a sheet that at the end of the month, I know that X amount of inquiry come from the effort that we have done in social media.
Yeah.
X amount of inquiry come from the effort that we've done with Google, with Facebook, with anything else. Any one of the more than 1,500 digital tools that we count nowadays. So you at least understand where are you investing your money wisely and where you are not.
This is definitely a very important part of the exercise when you analyze the data. It seems to be like a very small question, but it is definitely a critical one to see where your major leads are coming from, let's say.
Right.
So I want to ask you about something related to digital marketing services as a business that monetizes. So I know brands prefer, in a lot of cases, to outsource digital marketing function to a remote location. And when it comes to getting the services from a digital marketing agency, for example, I know that this is a very often situation. Like, people are trying to make it at a lower price, and therefore finding different other ways, people who are not located in the region. So what's your perspective on that?
So for me, there are some activity that can be done anywhere else in the world. There are other activity that they couldn't be done anywhere else. Because, for example, when you talk about a brand that is distributed, let's say, in the Middle East people are a lot different than Europeans, or than Indians, or Pakistani, or Chinese, or Russians. So here there is a melting pot of cultures. But even an Italian in Dubai, think very differently than an Italian in Italy. So if I take an Italian in Italy and I'll tell them, launch my campaign in Dubai, he's going to do the things that for him is good. But in Dubai, he's going to get no traction. I'm going to ask an Indian, launch a campaign for Dubai. In Dubai, there are a lot of Indians as well. But an Indian in Dubai is not like an Indian in any remote or in Bangalore or any other city. So if you don't understand the culture of some place like Dubai or UAE or the Middle East, it's going to be very difficult to understand what works, what doesn't. For example, even inside Dubai, there are so many areas. You cannot launch a campaign and target Dubai. That's wrong. Somebody that lives in a villa in Palm Jumeirah has a completely different mindset from somebody that lives in Karama. So this, first of all, it's a big gap that somebody which does not understand, is not experienced with Middle East, with Dubai for a while, he's not going to know. So you ended up wasting so much money into wrong campaign without even knowing why the campaign is not performing well. You're not going to be able to optimize that type of things because you don't get the basics.
So what is your methodology here? So how do you tackle this particular challenge of, a very precise, probably targeting within the campaigns?
There is, in the traditional marketing, you do very well the persona exercise to know exactly who is your target. And you prepare the full description of who is your target. In digital marketing, typical people, what they do? They launch campaign. They just put themselves on the computer, boom, 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 and launch, without thinking who is the real target audience. So when you mix those things, then is when you get good results. When you really do the online persona exercise, then you understand exactly who your customers are, where do they live, what do they do, how much free time they have, in which platform they are most of the time, and then you use the right platform to target them. Because as much as we know that everyone is in Facebook, because Facebook, it's the largest platform ever, but at the same time, we don't use Facebook at the same time.
Yeah, definitely.
As a CEO, I use Facebook very rarely, only for business-related purposes.
That's true.
Even once every now and then, maybe, I look at something or I post some pictures so my mom in Italy can see my kids, etc., etc. But I'm not somebody that spend day and night in Facebook and Instagram and clicking and buying stuff. That's me because I am a B2B client or I'm an executive and I have a little amount of free time. Other people may have a lot more free time, so they'll be more keen to be in social media, and you eventually can get them from the different social media platforms. So this is something very important that organizations are missing completely.
I think that's, so the lesson learned, so the persona exercise, as much as I've seen it in my practice as well, that companies are trying to skip that step.
Yeah.
Because there's a sales team that seems to be knowing their clients, they know their audience, and that gives them a confidence that you can translate it into a digital space and have a successful campaign. So, which is not the case. So, a persona building exercise is obviously,
and then to have a little bit of a strategy first, because if you clearly ask any Facebook employee, you have a business and you want to succeed, what you need to do? Any Facebook employee, they will tell you, you need to have a Facebook ads. If you ask any Google employee what you need to do, they will tell you, you need a Google campaign. If you ask any Twitter employee, they will tell you, you need to tweet. If you ask any YouTube, you tell you need a YouTube, you need a web show. But at the end of the day, it doesn't only work like that. So you should understand which platform give you what type of benefit, and you should be able to choose the right one based on your target audience, your product, your service, and the geographic area where you want to distribute it. So that's basically what is missing out most of the time. That's why we focus a lot more on strategy first, because to launch a Facebook campaign, you can do 1 million times.
I agree with you.
Of course.
Quite easy.
It takes skill to do a good campaign compared to a bad one. But even when the campaign doesn't perform as expected, you should be able to understand what was the mistake. And sometimes the mistake is not within campaign, but is within maybe the website or the product or the brand or the customer or something else. So that's the complex part.
Yeah, so you need to understand so how all these parts and bits and pieces are working together, and to fix at each particular stage before you get into a result of a campaign, and then you blame a digital marketer or a social media manager for poor results. There are so many multiple elements that need to work to be able to get great results.
And be also open towards your customers to listen what they have to say. So that's why when you enable the live chat on your website and you get feedback, you get questions, you get asked something from your potential customers, those, for me, it's gold.
I think that's a great source of information of what kind of content you can create.
Because we think we know about our customer, what do they want, but when I look at the chat or the conversation or what the customer asks to the customer service, then you understand that you're clearly wrong. So we need to listen more, and we need to be able to adjust based on what our customers say.
I know you've got a very, very funny example about adjusting to your customers' needs. I'd love you to bring that up.
Right. Now, probably you already have in your life a pizza with chicken, possibly.
Well, for me, it's quite okay. Frankly, I generally wouldn't eat it, but I think it's acceptable. But
right. Now I'm going to tell you a secret for you and for your audience. Pizza with chicken does not exist.
In Italy, most probably.
Whereas it should exist, right? So when you order a pizza with chicken, companies accept to put chicken because customer want it like that. But if you go to Italy, to any pizzeria, and you order a pizza with chicken, they laugh at your face. Say, what you want? It's nonsense. And even worse than that is what is called the Hawaiian pizza, the pizza with pineapple. This is a big no for any Italian. I remember when I was going abroad the first time, Every Italian comment when you come back from any other country that people are crazy. They put pineapple on top of pizza. This is something that doesn't enter in our mind. But again, either we stick with our roots and we tell you, you only need to eat the pizza like this, like this, like that, and we keep our market very small, or we open up to our customer want and suggestion, and we decided to have pineapple and chicken and much other stuff on top of the pizza.
No, that's a great example as well. But I also think it also goes to show there's some special culture in Italy about personal brand. So, and about things that are very, very culturally typical. So we know a lot of Italian brands that are linked to a personality. And
Right.
I am personally, I've seen a lot of businesses nowadays that grew up from a personal brand. So what personal brand means in Italy and for you specifically as
Right.
yeah.
Actually, I started thinking about this a few years ago because I realized that when I was speaking with other marketers from different nationality, I realized why those people, they don't think exactly the same way that I think. And I realized that is for sure the fact that I was growing in Milan, the city of brands. Actually, if you look at the statistics, more than 90% of the biggest brands in the world come from Italy. And I mean, you look at not only in the fashion, in Versace, Dolce & Gabbana, Armani, you name it, Gucci, etc., etc. Then you look at even the car industry. So
Yeah.
like Lamborghini, Ferrari, and so on and on and on. In the motorbikes, Ducati, Bimota, etc., etc. So the fact that I grew up with surrounded by brands probably helped to shape my idea about brands and about how to build one of them. And then I realized that in internet, it's all about digital, but there isn't too much brand. And this is the biggest clash between traditional marketing, that they want to build a brand, and digital marketers, that they just want to get traffic and Facebook likes.
Absolutely.
And other
Yeah.
vanity
Where's the
metrics.
balance?
So what I realized is that the biggest brands were human, that they have an amazing story, and they become a brand later. If you look at Versace, is the story of Gianni Versace,
Yeah.
which they found
Yeah.
and create Versace brand.
Right.
Ferrari is the story of Enzo Ferrari. So he's the guy that was creating car and was creating a racing car, not for the road, only for the race. And then Ferruccio Lamborghini, and so on and on and on. So D&G, Dolce Gabbana, is the story of Domenico Dolce and Stefano Gabbana. So they become a brand later. In the modern industry, companies are created with a logo, and we call it brand.
Yeah.
But the brand is never easy to work with, because you may like a brand, but you're never gonna love it. To love a brand, the brand must become human.
Yeah.
Once become human, then you may eventually love it. And that was the job that Steve Jobs has done with Apple. He created Apple, but he was putting his face in front of Apple every single time, in every single presentation. We would have never loved the Apple logo just like that. We loved what Steve Jobs put in it.
No, 100%. So the balance is the human eventually.
Yeah.
So
And
the
actually,
balance.
the startup founders, they are themselves first. Why you buy that type of, you download that type of app? Because there is a founder that make you love it that way. And then you look at companies like Virgin. Now it's a Richard Branson face. And then you look at, even Microsoft realized ages ago that Apple was making the brand human. And that's why even Bill Gates was appearing more and more and more on stage, on events, to humanize Microsoft.
I agree with you. So it's so the balance between what I want to serve my audience, but at the same time I want to keep my brand is actually a personality or a set of personalities, and that's a great point. And I think
I've done also an exercise sometime with brands. Even I've been working with Nissan, Infiniti, Renault, and we took an example. We took the guys, salespeople, and some of them, they post in their social media the brochure, the latest perfectly graphically perfect design brochure of the latest car. And others, they post a selfie taken with their phone and the car on the back.
Oh, absolutely. This one is going
They get
viral.
10 times at least more engagement than the best brochure ever designed by the best graphic designer. So we understand that marketing is shifting heavily, but companies, they still don't get it.
I think it's just it's more about how to integrate this culture into a larger organization, and how to to protect your brand standard and branding in general, and also allow a lot more people to represent your brand in the public space. I think it's more about the journey that has to happen. And I think, well, I've spoken to a few of my guests, and I understand that this culture starts to really picking up nowadays.
Yeah, and companies, they still are afraid to lose control of their brand. But now, because of the heavy digitalization, the customer is in control.
No, I think
the companies are not anymore in control. The brand is not anymore in control. If I take an iPhone 12 Max or a Samsung, etc., beautiful, that the company showcases as the best phone ever, and I take it and smash on the table on a live show, and I get 1 million views, and people laugh and they enjoyed it, so the brand, they cannot do nothing. So, okay, they can try to sue me because I show the brand and I smash the brand against the table, etc., but still they get more exposure.
Elon Musk, I think that's a great example of a personal brand that actually uses techniques like that to be really. It's a balance between how you use this technique, right? You control a message that you want to deliver, but at the same time you create it as a very authentic content.
Yeah, like it's the same. I use the example of Richard Branson, because you think that an airline is something that should be perfect, crystal clear, etc. But you see, Richard Branson is a clearly accomplished man. But it's not like an atomic engineer or somebody, etc. It's a normal human being that has his own flaws, his own mistake. He does his own sports, etc. And people love it because he's a human. He makes so much success in his life, but he's still a human. So they relate to him. The same with Elon Musk. He's not somebody that, I'm Elon Musk, you cannot even talk with me because I'm going to Mars. It's a normal human being, very humble person. And that's what people love. And then they associate Elon Musk, Mars, Tesla. I'm going to buy a Tesla and I'm going to pay so much.
And Tesla is so cool. Just because it is so cool.
even my kids that are 5 and 6 years old, they already love the Tesla, and they will love to have a Tesla when they grown up.
Wow.
So imagine how powerful it is, a brand that start from the young age of the kids.
Yeah.
Kind of like McDonald's, I can say.
Yeah, no, that's true. Absolutely. It's a lot more about authenticity, a lot more about bringing real human stories into the space of the business. And speaking about human failures backstage, different types of stories. So if you look at your own journey, maybe you've got like a few client stories in mind that were a milestone in your digital marketing business, that taught you a lot, that showed you that you need to change as a business, you need to evolve, etc. So maybe a story like that. And when did it happen? What are those milestones?
Actually, recently speaking with somebody, she was telling me that she's also part of a group of moms. Typically, if you have kids, you have the school, the group, etc. And she was saying that now some moms start pitching themselves as a new social media manager. And then she was telling me that now the market is getting crazy because you get moms at home,
True.
Which once the kid is at school, what they do? They feel like useless because they used to work, they used to have a career. Now that they are at home, they need to be busy. And what do? A lot of them, they buy a $9.99 training and they learn how to do social media. And they start. And then they offer their services for 1 month at 500 dirham. It's like $150 a month to do your social media. And then again, they start getting their own traction. They start getting 1 or 2 or 3 clients. Again, obviously, you cannot expect that out of somebody that just learned how to do something is gonna do amazing work for you. But again, there are people that unfortunately, they rely on those type of services. But this is what I saw it coming ages ago. Mm-hmm. That's whatever you're doing, if you don't evolve, if you don't grow, then somebody is going to take your job. And that's what's happened. I remember when I was 16 years old, I was still in college, and I was fixing computer just to get some money at the side. And then I was quite good. And I remember that once I was in a company, and there was the equivalent of the modern IT manager that actually was like 40, 45 years old, and he was not able to fix some problem. And I was 16, and I was fixing his problem. And at that time I realized, wow, this technology goes away so fast that maybe one day I'm going to be the 40, 45 years old man, and there's going to be one 16 years old teenager that's going to eat me alive. So that's why I realized that technology is evolving so fast. So I need not only to learn in the same field, but I need to grow at a higher level. So then I can keep a lot of other people like me, work with me as a partner, as an employee, as something. So at least I'm still going to be valuable. And that's why ages ago I started speaking at conferences, I started teaching, and actually many years ago I remember I've done a certification for university professors to be able to teach digital marketing.
Right.
Because I know that I need to keep myself ahead of the curve for quite a lot.
So
actually, I wrote
niched.
a book also 1 year ago, and that now has been quite around, and everyone love it. Because the title is The Pizza Guide to Digital Marketing.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, it looks very,
Obviously
it sounds,
Italian.
Absolutely authentic, yes.
And it's very funny to read. It's not just a manual, very boring, etc. It's full of a lot of funny stories that help you understand digital marketing, even if you're not into marketing. Because all of my students has been always coming from any kind of background. From IT, from tech, from even master in marketing, even CEOs, business developer, salespeople. So everyone was coming from even I got pharmacists, doctors.
I got you. Yeah. So basically, so it's also, I think what I've heard from you is you have to niche you down. You niche yourself down pretty quickly. So you need to understand who you're serving at what particular time. And so what are those skills that you think digital marketers, or maybe those who would like to still get into that area, need to master in the next, let's say, 3 to 5 years? Because I wouldn't take more than that.
Right. My biggest advice for everyone is that you need to be so passionate about a topic to start going into it. Because we see that more than 80% of students, few years later, they ended up working in something which they did not study for. Most of lawyers, they ended up having a business and doing their own business, nothing to do with legal. Even doctors, they have different businesses and they don't operate as a doctors. So clearly, when you want to do something evolving and so fast, you need to be extremely passionate, because you're going to need to dedicate a lot of hours of your time in learning new stuff, in understanding, in participating at events, because these are skills that nobody can teach you in a normal school, even in a university, even in a master. Now, you have done effectively the Digital Marketing Institute, which is not a traditional school. It's something that you do aside to learn a specific topic. And that's why, because I'm one of the lecturers of Digital Marketing Institute, I get exposed to all of the latest material created by the biggest digital marketing minds in the world. And that's why by teaching that, I also learn how the latest things works. That's why one of my motto is learning by teaching.
Right. No, that is working effectively very, very much. And
after you know what you want, you are passionate enough about that specific topic, then go for it. Full power. People are going to tell you that you don't understand, go for it. You don't know, go for it.
Just practice.
That's what I did for 18 years.
Yeah.
I was always doing something that nobody understand. And even actually when I did my first campaign, when I was working for Oracle, I was in sales. But when I realized that online there are so many things that can be done, because a company like Oracle, with so much crazy technology, top-notch technology, the company that invented database, they were not using any technology to generating sales. We had Oracle CRM, to help managing the sales. But to generate sales, no technology at all. And then because I'm an IT engineer, then I realized I can use some of this internet and computer things to get some clients out of it. And then when I read around, and I realized that there is a Google and you can do campaign and stuff like this. And then I realized that's cool. So I spoke with my manager and he told me, that's a good idea. Let's go to speak with marketing. And actually at the time I was in Ireland, in Dublin,
right,
where there was the EMEA headquarter. So Europe, Middle East and Africa.
Right.
The headquarter was in Dublin, 1,500 employees.
Yeah.
And when I spoke with marketing team, they told me, yeah, but we don't do this stuff. Say, why not? Say, yeah, because we would need to ask to the headquarter in Silicon Valley. Say, okay, ask. Say, no, we cannot. There is where Larry Ellison, the chairman, work. We cannot ask these things. Okay, and it was left like that. And then my country manager, he told me, Christian, if you want to do a pilot, how much money do we need? And I say, 200 euro. I say, only? And how can we pay? Just with a credit card. And he gave me his own credit card, his own American Express. It's a corporate card, up to 500 euro per day. I'm the country manager. I don't need to ask anyone. Just do your things, try. Like that. And he trusts me, and I start creating campaign, and I launch campaign, and we start getting more clients. So this was 2003, when nobody had an idea about what to do, how to do anything digitally. And that's, for me, was one way. Right. I was always doing crazy stuff. Right. And I remember that few years later, I was still doing it. Then even I moved to Spain, and I was doing exactly the same things for Oracle in Spain. And then when I moved to Dubai, when I asked, even, can we use some online marketing tactic? I used to work also for Al Habtoor as a sales and marketing director, but there was already some people handling marketing, and they told me, no, this is something that's, we don't do it here because people, they don't buy real estate online, etc.
Of course, yeah, they would say so.
And then I was launching campaign anyway.
Yeah. Without
telling anyone, I was still doing it because we're getting so many leads, so many inquiries, so many sales. For me, it was a shame not to do it. So it's something that you see that something works, keep doing it. That's the right way to do it.
No, absolutely. 100%. I agree with you. So you have to pivot. You have to definitely be brave enough. And especially now when we are living in the time of change, braveness, readiness to try has never been important. Has never been more important. And I think that. And
if you do what everyone else is doing, you will get the results that everyone else is doing it, hopefully. Because you're not so experienced as the other, so you're going to get less results. So if you want to get better results, you need to do something that nobody else is doing. That's why I cross industries. Let's say telecommunication is one of the most advanced sector in digital marketing.
Right.
And I take a lot of tactics that work perfectly in telco and I apply to other sectors, like healthcare, for example, which is quite behind.
Yeah.
Banking sector, finance sector is a lot behind.
Right.
Pharmaceutical is ages behind. Because they grown up with different tree. But when you apply the same tactic that work perfectly in telco to other industry, you blast. Of course, you need to get the buy-in from the senior managers because they see that you're doing something that they don't even understand. It's beyond their comprehension. So there should be some pilot projects and then again and again and again until it works. And I've been teaching to so many telco operators in the Middle East and even outside of the Middle East that I've seen not only what works for them, but even what are their challenges. The challenges that the other industry, they will face in 5 to 10 years' time.
Right. So what are those typical misconceptions about digital marketing that still sort of exist? Like people take digital marketing for what? I
mean, still I remember now, luckily, it doesn't happen anymore. But until a few years ago, when I was introducing myself that, I do digital marketing, a lot of even head of communication of huge groups, they used to tell me, you do websites. We don't need a website. We already have one.
Got you.
So I was thinking, they are so far away. And then in other cases, I do digital marketing. But we don't have e-commerce. We don't need it. I was thinking, what? Or they say, so you do social media. And still I have a few, even friends, who are still good friends, that after so many years, they introduce me as the social media guru. And I think, I don't like even social media. It's one tiny little bit of the entire digital marketing umbrella. Yeah. But in the mind of people, digital marketing. Yeah, Facebook. Yeah, you are the Facebook thingy.
All right.
So it's obviously a lot not enough mainstream.
No, I understand what you're saying. So, and I think it's great to have people like you in the industry bringing actually some light to the whole framework of digital marketing. That's what I, for example, loved about my program at Digital Marketing Institute, that they give you the whole framework.
Yeah.
It's a very comprehensive program that gives you the full picture of what the ecosystem is. Yeah. And then you can narrow down your skill to something that you feel natural about, right? Yeah. But I mean, you have the full picture in mind, which is great about programs like that versus some kind of, small courses that would give you only a tiny bit of some hard skills rather than, the visionary.
And then, I mean, you're talking about the Digital Marketing Institute. If any one of your follower is looking to learn, please choose as a trainer somebody that has been doing this for a very long time. Because now it's easy to say, I buy a book, I learn some stuff, and next day I'm an expert and I'm a trainer and I teach you how to do stuff. Pay me $50 and you will learn. Depends what you want to get out of it. If you want to just get the idea, you buy a book and you get the idea. You buy my book, you get the idea, and that's it. If you really want to learn, then you need to find somebody that has been doing this for a very long time, and they can help you understand the entire ecosystem of digital marketing. Right. Otherwise, you're going to simply understand how to switch on your phone and off, and that's it. But you're not going to get nothing out of it.
Absolutely. So, and if you look at your journey in digital marketing or in digital marketing services business, but I understand you also have got some corporate experience. So what would you change? Would you change anything looking back? Would you stay and probably do some IT job instead?
Definitely not. I'm still happy about my past experience, as I was even doing IT consulting for a few years. Actually, I was the fourth employee to be hired by the largest telco operator in Italy to develop websites and sell websites to their largest clients. Mm-hmm. And that was a nice experience, but that I will do it again, because I think that to have a technical background, it helps solving problems that they never been solved before.
Right.
You can know everything. You can read and you can memorize a book. But every day we are facing problems that nobody has ever faced before. Nobody ever told you how to solve that problem. Mm-hmm. So now you need to figure out how to do it.
Right.
And one of the good ways to solve any problem now, something that kids know very well, adults not much, is you Google it. Actually, my kids, even if they cannot write yet, but they press the voice and they ask Google things, they ask YouTube things, and then YouTube, they show you how to design an alien, how to draw an alien. And then they watch YouTube and they put themselves there and they draw an alien on a paper. So this is what kids learn because they are born digitally savvy.
Yeah, that's right.
Compared to us, which we had to learn. Yeah. Which luckily for me, I had always a very supportive parents that they bought me my first computer when I was 12. Mm-hmm. It was a ZX Spectrum. I still remember it. Black things with the cassette to loading stuff. And that's what helped me really having a technical mindset from very early.
Right.
So I know that parents now they say, yeah, but technology is too much for the kids. Obviously, you should balance between technology or iPad or iPhone and something and say, now you stop. Now you play normally out football with your kids, with your brother, with somebody else, not only hypnotize like a zombie on technology. But this is something that nobody can say that you can do your job without technology.
Oh, for sure.
Even a doctor.
Absolutely.
If he cannot use a computer or anything, he's going to be lost.
Yeah,
now, even in medicine, there are robotics. There are telemedicine, and they're going to be able to use technology to even operate patients remotely.
Okay.
So there are no fields that can go on without technology.
Definitely. And probably speaking about the business perspective in the area of digital marketing services, etc. So what is your perspective? What is your forecast? How are you going to evolve as a company? going forward? How do you monetize your services? And it's probably valuable for those who are dealing in the same area, not from the point of view that a competition, etc., and you're giving them a huge tip, but you're an expert. You're somebody who understands here, so it would be great to hear from you.
For me, in my opinion, in every sector, the small player will disappear. Either they're going to be kicked out or they're going to be acquired by bigger player. And the same happen in marketing. A company that is doing only basic stuff is not going to be able to survive.
For sure.
Because the cost to get a client online is heavily increasing. And in many industry is way higher than how much the client is going to give it to you.
Absolutely.
So when you pay more to get less, it's not going to work. You spend more to get a client than the money that the client is giving to you.
Absolutely. So if you're offering the services that the price keeps reducing, if you're not evolving.
Exactly. If you're not good enough in marketing, you're going to waste, you're going to lose, and you're going to fail. Another topic is that you should be able to keep your customer loyal. Because once you start understanding that a customer buy from you today, and you could and should have him buying from you more often, then is when the return of investment happen. Then when you pass the break even. When at least you know that to get a customer for this is going to cost me $300.
Yeah.
And I make only $200 profit. But I'm so good, I'm going to keep my customer happy and loyal. And after 1 week or 1 month, it's going to buy more from me. So then when I'm going to make my profit.
No, I absolutely agree with you. So
we need to think at marketing in a more financial way.
Totally. And also about the value that you're bringing as a company, right? So the marketing ecosystem as it is, it keeps on growing. So you have to acquire the necessary skills that you lack. And especially things like pandemic of last year. Imagine how many marketing agencies were focused on providing events, let's say face-to-face events, right? It's not like it's changed dramatically, but this particular part has transformed and it's going to keep on transforming. Yeah. And when it comes to traditional sort of marketing,
actually, we help a lot of organizations to come out of COVID situation.
Okay.
Because when they were cutting, when it's about marketing, we always know that the first item to cut when there is a crisis is marketing.
Oh, absolutely.
But you need to know what to cut and what to leave. Because otherwise, if you cut your only lifeline, you're dead. And so we help an organization to choose what to cut, what to keep, and how to start recovering after COVID.
That's right. No, amazing. Yeah. I absolutely like this conversation. There's a lot of value for those who are in digital marketing services business, for agencies, for those who would like to get probably their knowledge around digital marketing. And
just another tip that I always like to advise everyone is choose a tactic that have a long-term value. Because everyone think, I'm going to launch a Facebook campaign, I'm going to get so many clients. You're not going to get so many, you're going to get some. But it's going to cost you a lot. And after, when you stop paying Facebook or Instagram or whatever you pay, your client's income becomes zero. So this is why you should think about more long-term. So when you start getting clients, it's going to take a little bit longer. You're going to invest first. But once you're going to start getting clients, they're going to keep coming. And you don't need always to feed more money to the media, because the digital media is only going to increase.
Absolutely.
And I remember I was the first doing any pay-per-click campaign, and I was paying 1 cent of dollar per click with any keyword. Even real estate investment in Dubai, real estate, buy real estate, sell real estate, anything about real estate, 1 cent of dollar per click.
Mm-hmm.
Now that keyword is worth probably now $15, $20, $30, even $40 per click.
For sure. No,
Same stuff.
It's very
because there
expensive.
is so much competition.
Yeah.
So now you need to do something else. You need to build again for the long run, because if you're just a launch campaign, first, the cost is always going to increase. Your competitors, they're always going to increase in number, and they're always going to do the same tactic. So it's just about time until your company is going to fail.
Surely, so you have to be always on the edge of what is the most efficient way for you to acquire clients online. I think and that's the beauty of working with somebody who can consult you on what's latest. Yeah, I think that's the also beauty of having the right partner in this particular area, especially when you're serious about your, client acquisitions through digital channels. It's surely something absolutely important. Thank you very much for this conversation.
Welcome,
it's been totally valuable for me, and hopefully for the audience as well. And I think we'll keep on raising, those are different subjects around digital marketing. Surely, thank you for finding your time to come for the episode.
Yeah, welcome, Larisa.
Yeah, great.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And I hope that all of your followers, they got a lot of value out of this session.
Surely they will. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thanks for watching us, and thanks for staying with us till the end.